Hi everyone, I hope you're having a great Sunday. Well, for the longest time we wondered whether a vegetarian diet is the best for us, whether we should continue to eat animal protein, whether we should continue to eat fish. Number one, the purpose of today's video is not to induce fear in any of you. Yes, we are living in a world where all of us are confused, including myself. What do we wake up and eat every day? A couple of weeks ago we spoke about milk and how we've been fooled by the whole milk lobby to believe that pasteurized and homogenized milk is healthy for us and a great protein, and now we've learned that it's anything but that. So like everyone out there, I'm as confused as you are. What do we wake up and eat? What do we eat to stay healthy? How can we plan a daily diet which doesn't have meat or doesn't have vegetables in? Should we be even trying to do that? So the whole purpose of today's video is not to induce fear into you. It's to create awareness and help us make decisions on how we can build our immunity to protect us from all of the contamination that exists right in our milk, our meat, our fish, and including the air that we have. But for the longest time we've been fooled, we've been lied to, and we've been deceived by all of the food lobbies and all of the media that keeps promoting protein and animals and fish and milk. And of course, even the healthy vegetarian diet, where we all know today that it's not just animals and fish and milk, but it's also vegetables and fruits which are being injected, which have been covered with pesticides and grown in infertile soils, which are creating more harm than good to all of us. But today we're going to start off with just meat. And the whole idea of this video is it's all about you. We all have to realize today it is all about you. It is all about each of us. When we make a decision, we don't make a decision based on the fear that's being created in the industry or what's good and what's bad. We make a decision in regards to our own lives. So if I'm going to make a decision about what I should eat, I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to give up meat, I'm not going to give up fish, I'm not going to give up vegetables too. But I'm going to look into my life and find out the best and safest way to include these things in my diet so that I can continue living and enjoying life. Because we can't keep restricting ourselves from everything. So let's get straight into meat. For the longest time we believed that meat is high protein, and it is high protein. But when we understand how animal and cattle are bred today, we have a completely different idea of health. If we look at the amount of contamination of antibiotics and hormones that are pumped into cattle and animals, it's unbelievable when you see almost every connection tying up with cancer, diabetes, cardiovascular, skin issues, asthma, sinus, and so many other things. The first thing that we do is when we think about farms and cattle, we imagine these large grass lands with, red barns and all these animals being fed over there. But it's completely different today. It's not a farm, it's an industry. And when you go to these industries, you find that the food lobbies and the animal lobbies, they don't care about the environment, they don't care about the quality of the meat, they don't care about animal welfare, they don't care about food safety. If you look, half of these animals are standing in their own waste. Half of the animals are so sick that they are pumped with antibiotics to keep them alive, because a dead animal is useless. They got to be alive and fattened up before they're sent to a slaughterhouse and then sold as meat. So these sick animals are constantly pumped with antibiotics and growth hormones so that they can grow much faster. And that's why when you look at an average chicken today, you look at the breast of a chicken, it is far bigger than the local country chicken. For people who have had the access, of looking at village chickens, they're small and scrawny birds. But when you look at the birds that you buy in the market today, they have very big breasts, because that's how a chicken is sold. A chicken is sold on weight. So the heavier the chicken, the more money it is for the chicken lobbies. And these chickens are pumped with estrogen right in the breast area. What does estrogen do in a human being as well as an animal? It produces growth in the breast. And that's exactly what the breast is sold today. Most of the restaurants, you'll find that the prime cut of a chicken is breast, and you pay more money for it. It seems bigger. It tastes like crap because it can never compare to the taste of a fresh country chicken. And we're taking in all those antibiotics and all of those hormones at the same time. It is believed that in 2015, 50% of the antibiotics produced by pharmaceuticals in the US was consumed not by humans but went to agricultural departments to feed animals. 50% of the pharmaceutical antibiotics were used by the animal industry to feed animals. And so when you eat that meat, You are what you eat. All of those toxins are coming into your body. But let's now quickly understand, what does a cow eat? Have you ever figured what is the diet of a cow? Cows eat grass. But all of the cows today are fed on grain. They have grain-based diets, cheap grain, made from soy, made from corn, made from genetically modified corn, made from genetically modified soy, which is why soy and corn continues to be one of the most subsidized crops in the US. It's cheap, it feeds cattle at a cheaper cost, and it fattens up cattle. And along with that, these animals are fed with growth hormones so that they can fatten up and they can sell very, very quickly. So all of those hormones, all of that fat is now going into your system. What is also very, very, very important for you to understand, that when a cow is fed on grass, the usual pH level of the cow is 7. 7 is neutral on the acidic scale, on the pH scale. Below 7 is acidic, above 7 is alkaline. So a grass-fed cow has a pH level of 7. A cow that is fed on grain, like soy, like corn, the acid levels of that cow, the pH levels fall to 4, which makes the cow extremely acidic, which makes the cow a breeding ground for dangerous bacteria like E. coli and several other deadly bacteria that get into our systems and eventually make us sick. Let's not stop at the diet of a cow. Cows are meant to roam freely, and because they roam, they get their amount of exercise. Because of the extreme acidic condition of a cow, now the omega-3 is no longer sufficient in the cow. And what changes is the proportion. So you're eating a cow that has more omega-6. The acidic levels of the cow increases the omega-6 levels, which is detrimental to human health. It is omega-6 in vegetable refined oils. It is omega-6 in animal meat that creates inflammation in the heart and cardiovascular diseases. Like I told you, it's no longer about cholesterol. Most cardiac arrests and heart failures are caused because of inflammation. That is caused because of omega-6, more omega-6 in the human body. So a lot of people think that, wow, I'm eating meat and it's high in protein, high in omega-3 and high in CLA, which is conjugated linoleic acid, which is fantastic for your heart and metabolism. But all of that is reduced because of the way cows are bred and on the diet that cows are fed. So not only do we have unhealthy cows, we have unhealthy toxic meat. Furthermore, the meat is processed and it is pumped up with preservatives to keep it fresh. And something used to change the color of meat and give it that reddish pink color is called nitrites. Nitrites has every connection with Alzheimer's, dementia, cancer, respiratory disorders, low metabolism and cardiovascular issues, which is why we say that people feeding their kids or themselves on all the cold cuts like salami, ham, all of that stuff, it is pumped with so much of sodium and nitrites that it has every link to disease. So now all of that meat goes into your system, and over time it makes you sicker and sicker and sicker. But then again, we have that question of what about people who have been eating meat all their lives and they're not sick? What's the answer to that? The answer is, if that's been your diet, you now need to be aware that this is the way meat is processed. 10 to 15 years ago, when the meat lobbies or the supply and demand was not the way it is today, meat was much, much healthier in terms of its quality. So yes, if you have to choose to eat meat, try to look for sustainable farms. Try to look for meat which is from cows which are grass-fed. Try to look for healthy grass-fed meat. And yes, you can continue eating meat if that's what you've grown up on. I'm not going to stop eating meat. I'm just going to be aware about the consumption, the quality and the quantity of meat that I consume. So if I ate meat 4 times a week, I'm going to maybe eat meat maybe once a week or maybe twice a week. It's all about balance and moderation and doing it with awareness. Let's jump straight into fish, which has become another scam, because for the longest time we've been promoting people, especially with disease, to eat fish because fish is cleaner protein, fish is lighter on the system. But today there are 2 kinds of fish, and again it's become a food lobby. You have wild caught fish, where your normal fishing boats go out into the sea and catch fish every day and bring it back and sell it to you fresh. And then you have farmed fish, farm salmon, farm prawns, all of that stuff, which again is an industry. Now when you look at a wild caught fish, this fish is constantly swimming in the sea. So it has its amount of exercise, it has the right proportion of omega-3, it has the right proportion of omega-6, and it has less fat because it is constantly swimming. But when you look at the farmed fish, These fish are kept in small farmed areas where they can't even move. There are so many fish being bred there, and they don't need to move. They don't need to move because they don't need to search for food. They are being fed pellets of food. And guess again, what do fish naturally eat? Fish eat algae, fish eat plankton, fish eat everything that you find in the sea. But farmed fish are fed on pellets, which are made out of grain again. And these are man-made grain pellets which feed the fish, which again are induced with antibiotics and pesticides. Yes, even pesticides. Because what happens when you keep hundreds and hundreds of fish in a small encatchment area? They fall sick. There's something called sea lice. Sea lice is something that fish get, and it rapidly kills them. And that's no profit to all of these food lobbies. So then they induce these pellets to fatten up the fish quickly, which again, when you look at wild-caught fish, it's smaller in size. And if you look at the farmed fish today, look at the size of the prawns. Look at the size of the salmon. Look at the size of all the fish. It's great when it's on your plate served to you in a restaurant, but it is all again pumped with antibiotics. Let's talk about pink salmon, which has become a delicacy, and we pay so much of money to have pink salmon. Most of it is farmed, and that pink color comes from a dye that they add to the pellets to change the color of the salmon to a bright pink, which makes it look like, wow, Norwegian salmon, which is, caught, and we pay so much of money, and we're consuming dyes, and we're consuming all of the antibiotics and pesticides that it is filled with. So we need to understand, in the wild, fish swim, they have exercise, and they have a lower amount of fat in the body. But all of this farmed fish, it is shown to have higher content of fat, higher content of omega-6, and a lower content of omega-3. So we're being fooled that most of the fish we eat has omega-3, which is usually found in fish and which is usually beneficial for the human body. But that's a big problem. And to make matters worse, there is a whole comparison study of all of these. Take a normal average salmon farm where salmon is bred. It has so much of excrement from the fish and uneaten pellets that sinks to the flow bed of the sea and creates pathogenic bacteria, which then pollutes more and more fish, making us sicker and sicker. 61% of the fish in the world comes from China. China controls 61% of aqua farming. And as the demand for fish goes up more and more, the farms in China, the fish farms, are getting more and more crowded, which means more and more polluted, which means there's more demand, which means they need to produce more fish, and they need to feed fish more pellets to make them bigger and bigger and keep them alive. And that's exactly how fish and meat is making us sicker and sicker every single day, which is why there are countless of studies which shows that when someone's suffering from cancer, cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, the best diet for them at that point is vegetarian. Why? To reduce the toxic overload of toxins and antibiotics coming from the meat into your body. So what about vegetarian food? Again, pumped with pesticides, pumped with, all of these toxins and contaminations and injections and stuff. So again, what do we eat? Do we give up all of this? Maybe. Like I said, it's all about you. Look at your life right now. Are you sick? Are you suffering from disease? Are you constantly fatigued? Are you unhealthy? If yes, you need to make the right decision for your body. There is no one solution where I can tell people, hey, get off meat completely and only be vegetarian. Or I can't tell vegetarians, stop eating only vegetarian food and also get meat and fish into your diet. Like I said, it is all about you. You make a decision based on your life, where you live, the kind of physical activity that you have, the kind of sedentary lifestyle that you have, your stress levels, the amount of sleep that you have. Because we can't stop eating all of this stuff. And even if you decide to stop eating all of this stuff, then you have no control over the air that you breathe. Most of the air across Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai has over 15 carcinogens that all of us breathe every single day. Every single day we're breathing in carcinogens in the air. So the only solution that I have for you are two of them. Immunity. Keep investing in your immunity every single day. Your immunity is your first and last line of defense of your body. So if we're taking in toxins and pesticides from the fruit that we ate this morning for breakfast, hopefully our immune system is so strong that it's going to manage it. The second thing is our eliminatory system. Our detoxification organs, which are 5 of them, our skin, our lungs, our kidney, our liver, and our colon. If we keep these 5 eliminatory organs working in optimum condition, then most of the pesticides and toxins that we either breathe in or we're eating through our vegetables and fruits, our meat or our fish, our body is strong enough to take it out of our system. And that's how we can survive, and that's how we can live a healthy life, by focusing on immunity, constantly building a strong immunity, enabling our body to fight out all this contamination that lives in the food that we eat and the air that we breathe. And the second thing is keeping our eliminatory organs clean. As we know, most disease happens due to the accumulation of toxins in the human body, which is why the moment we have disease or we're trying to prevent disease, the first thing that we need to do is clean our system. Help take the burden off our liver, help take the burden off our lungs, our kidney and our colon, which makes constipation and bowel issues the worst thing for you, because we're keeping poison in our body, which is why we want to constantly make sure that we pass a bowel movement every single day, that we take care of our gut health, we take care of our liver. Once or twice in a month, we detoxify our liver, we clean our lungs, we clean our kidneys. And we can do this by maintaining a good lifestyle, by minimizing our exposure to toxins from the food and the junk food that we eat, because we're already getting enough of it in all of the healthy food that we think is healthy. So that's the world that we're living in today. You don't leave this video making a decision that, hey, I'm going to be pure vegetarian. If you want to do that and that works for you, great. Or you may. The current plan that I'm working on is 3 weeks in a month. I want to be total vegetarian as far as I can, and then have meat once in a way whenever I feel like, or whenever my lifestyle demands for it to be there in my plan. So start making a decision based on who you are. There's so much of information in the world right now, and it confuses us every day. Don't say that, oh, Luke said vegetarian food is great, so let's all be vegetarian. Or Luke said now animal is bad, so let's completely stop animal. Because let me be very honest with you, there are extremely healthy people in the world out there eating fish every day, eating meat every day, eating vegetarian food every day, having a drink of alcohol every day, and smoking every day, and they are absolutely healthy. Absolutely healthy. And the difference I see in these people, they are so happy in their minds. They have no stress. They live life the way it's supposed to be lived. There's no emotional turmoil in them. They're just happy people. These same happy people don't have six packs. They don't have size 0 figures. A lot of them will have belly fat. They'll have big thighs. They'll have fat in their bodies in places where they probably wouldn't want it. But they're happy people. They live happy days every day. And their medical reports are completely fine. Disease doesn't just start in the body. Disease starts in the mind, in an unhappy, stressed out, emotional mind. When we hold on to emotions, when we, live a life where we don't act who we are. Most of us don't act who we are. We're not being true to ourselves. We're living an image that is false to the world and false to ourselves. And it takes so much of energy and so much of stress to maintain a false personality of someone who we are not. And that creates stress. And when I look at happy people who are fat, happy people who eat everything, but their medical records are fantastic and they have no disease. So let's also break away from that, whole mind pattern that, oh, someone with a six-pack figure or someone with a size 0 figure or a model or an actress or someone who goes to the gym every day is healthy. Being healthy is a complementary procedure between your mind and your body. So again, like I said, do not walk away from this video making a decision. Walk away from this video with an intention to reflect today on your life. How much of exposure to junk and alcohol and smoking do I have? If I have too much, I better start making changes in my diet to reduce the overload of toxins in my body. And we make a decision which is balanced, which ends up letting us live a happy life. Today, almost 1 in 3 people spend the day thinking about health, talking about the best exercises to do. Their life is all about health. I know women who just wake up, stand on the scale, it's a yoga class, Pilates class, and then it's green teas and purple teas and blue teas and salads and quinoas, and then a social tea gathering where they only talk about health, and then in the night it's the same thing. People are not living life anymore. We're not living. We're constantly trying to do and be something, all the time. We've got to start living. Wake up in the morning. Meditate a little bit. Say your prayers. Have a decent breakfast. Do your little bit of exercise. And start living your life. It's as simple as that. So when it comes to food, make the best decision. This is the world that we live. It's everyone's right to know about the quality of food, the way we're being deceived and lied to. It's our right to know about all of these things and then make the best decision that suits our body, our health, and our life. Have a great Sunday, everyone. Until next time, eat smart, move more, sleep right, and breathe deep. You may be required to hit that reset button in you and start making proper decisions when it comes to your food, your exercise, your sleep, and your stress. We all have that one little button in us. It's called the reset button. Hit that reset. It's a new day tomorrow. We wake up with a clean slate. You can start trying to make all of these changes in your lifestyle. The best drug is lifestyle. The only drug is lifestyle. Have a great Sunday, everyone.